Welcome to our podcast. I think it's going to work. We've been troubleshooting some issues for the last hour. But here we are, and we're already in deep conversation. So
Right now
we're
talking about how all three of us in common have a little buddy, a little male buddy. Mine happens to be my nephew. Jesse and Sadie's happen to be their little brothers. And we're kind of guiding them and kind of, I don't know. Wyatt's told me all the time, he's like, a lot of the reason why I go to school and I don't feel insecure in my own skin is because of you. Aww. And I was like, that's so nice, but really it was because of you. I'm like, I gave you the tools, but you did put them into fruition.
Yes. It's like you're teaching them all of the things that you never knew at their age.
Yeah.
It's like, let me guide you along this path because I've fucking been through it. Right? And it doesn't have to be hard, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's always going to be hard, but...
I always tell him, I'm like...
be as hard.
Right.
I'm like, those kids that you're looking at, that you're embarrassed to... Like, he was so embarrassed to wear his beanie for so long. Because what if somebody thinks I look dumb or da-da-da-da-da? Like, I remember being in school and dropping my pencil and being like, oh, I can't pick it up.
Isn't that so weird? I had that feeling, too. Yeah.
You guys, that's... You have
And
that
why?
With your embarrassing story. Like,
you
know...
No, I severely had that.
Yeah.
But
like, why? Like, it blows my mind. Like, bending over to pick up a pencil. Why? Does it show, like, that you're dumb? That you dropped something? Like, why do we have this?
Like you're trying to hide, I think.
You're trying to hide. That's how I feel. I didn't want to call. I don't want to cough. I don't want anybody to look at me. I want to just not exist and, like, be in my bubble and nobody look at me.
Oh, my gosh.
It's way easier to be invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have, like, those cough attacks in the middle of class?
Yeah.
That is the fucking worst thing, okay? Still to this day. I get, like, bright red, like, super anxious that I'm coughing and I can't stop in front of people. And it's like, why do we care?
You know what the worst thing is?
Everyone
when you,
does that.
Swallow down the wrong tube and you're trying not to cough, but then you're coughing and then you need to, like, burp and you're dying, but you don't want to let anyone know that you're, like, on the brink of death. Yeah. You might need the Heimlich.
For real. The Heimlich.
A little chunk of water stuck in your chest still.
Oh, yeah, shit. It's such a real thing.
I know.
Oh, my hell.
But really, though, like, back on the subject of addiction, I think addiction affects so many more families than we even realize. Like, I'm pretty sure every single person in the world can say they have a family member, whether that's, like, an intermediate or extended family member that has an addiction problem.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, God, my dad was an addict up until we just celebrated his 12th year of being clean and sober, and my sister is a meth addict, like, currently, and my mom raises her kids and has her kids, and I grew up as the second youngest sibling, but I also grew up as the oldest sibling because my mom took in my sister's kids. So they're my little brothers and sisters.
I remember, like, that time in our childhood.
Yep.
Like, it was just you guys for a while, and then I remember the time when everyone, like,
came
together and everyone just kind of started staying at your house.
Well, because the DCFS took my sister's kids away and they were gone and we didn't know where they were. And my mom was like, what do? I don't know if I should take them. Like, can I take them? I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
But that was right when my dad had first came back. But he had came back several times before that. Was he going to stay this time?
It was going to actually work.
None of us did. Like, all the time he would come back, knock on the door, crying at her feet, and she did not date while he was gone. She loved him. Like, she waited for him, and he came back several times, and then she'd have to have the sit-down conversation with us a week later of, like, oh, he went to get cigarettes, and he's not back, and then me and Mary would cry, and, like, it turned into this whole, like, why doesn't he love me enough? Like, he loves drugs more than me.
It's the cycle of addiction, too. It's like, just like we were talking about before we started recording. My father is going through a similar thing right now, too. And it's very, like, watching the cycle happen is like, they go so low and then they start to climb out of the addiction or something happens that just, like, rattles their world. Like, my dad, for instance, I haven't told you guys this yet, but last week, he showed up at my door and was like, I just got out of jail. Like, I've been in jail for 2 days. I got picked up on a warrant and, like, I just don't have anything. I don't know what to do. Me, knowing myself from, you know, my childhood and the way that I was raised, like, I want to help. All I want to do is help. I just want to, like, take him in and let him sleep on my couch and let him be here because he's my family and I love him so much, but because I have learned to have boundaries, you know, like I've got to a point where I'm not doing that anymore.
You've gone through it so many times already.
Yes, I've gone through it and I've wasted the energy. Not wasted, because honestly, sometimes it helps, you know? Like, me helping my dad has really helped him out, but also it's taking so much energy from me to then have him just use and manipulate and do things like that. You know what I mean?
So what did you tell him?
So, well, he needed help finding a phone because that's his lifeline right now. And I was like, I will help you find a phone because I know he cannot live without a phone. He doesn't have a home. You know, it's like, okay, I can help you find a phone. So I helped him find a phone, called around to all my siblings, got him some phone numbers, and then he left, and I haven't really talked to him. But I had to set a really harsh boundary with him and tell him, Dad, you can't stay here anymore, because he kept asking. And then he slept in my driveway, in his car. And I woke up, and he was here, and I was like, oh my gosh, flashback from my divorce.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened for a whole year with my ex, is he slept outside of my apartment in his truck because he didn't want to leave. And no matter how many boundaries I set, he stayed. And it's like,
damn.
Then seeing my dad out there, I wake up, I was just instantly triggered with all of this shit that, you know, I've went through with my ex, and then like now this is my dad, and it's literally the same cycle. And it's such a trip to me how similar they are.
You're so strong.
So similar.
And
I'm just like, holy shit. Thank you, but I don't feel that way right now.
Well, no, you know how much strength that takes?
I know.
To not just be like, okay, you can just come in.
Yeah.
You can just come in and
sleep. I'm noticing, because I'm trying to be aware of how I operate in these situations, because I fell into it for so long with my ex, and I'm not doing that again. Yeah. So I'm trying to learn now how to navigate the boundaries with my father and all of the same situations like happening. And I am noticing myself in the way that I hide certain things. So like he was here, and literally I waited till the last possible second before he left to tell him, like, you can't stay here, because it's so uncomfortable for me.
Well,
and for me to have to sit there and stress about that the whole time he's in my home, of how I'm gonna say this, like, fuck no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it anymore. It's like just wasted energy for me, you know? And then he just goes off and does his thing anyway, and it's like,
well, that night that he showed up knocking on your back door, or on your
on
bedroom
my window
door,
in the middle of the night.
Your bedroom window, that's terrifying. You live here alone. Like,
right.
Knocking on your bedroom window at 2 a.m., you let him in to sleep, and then by the time you wake up a few hours later, he's already gone.
You have no idea where he is.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
No.
Literally.
Like, he ruined your night of sleep, and then, like,
made you worry the rest of the night.
And who knows if he stole shit from you.
And this is the thing, is my dad is the sweetest, like, best person deep down, and I have this hope always that he can do better, but it's like, you can only have hope for so long.
Yep.
Like, I fell into that with my ex. I had hope for so long, kept hoping because I see the person he is, but it's addiction. Addiction will always run the show. No matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, addiction will run the show if you fall into it. And, you know, it actually, like I was telling you guys, spun me into my own little addictive patterns. And, you know, I've been smoking more weed than usual, and I'm just like feeling like I need to kind of numb out, which is weird because I was so great starting this podcast and doing all of this. Like, I've felt so good and so positive, and like my life has a purpose. And then it's like one small thing like this, and I'm triggered too into my own addiction. And
I feel like it's not a small thing though. It's like a big thing, honestly. That's like a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And
it looks small,
it's your dad. It's someone that you care about.
Yeah.
It's
obviously
heavy. Like, they're
so heavy.
An addict's tornado is like yesterday we had my family's Christmas party, and everything was so good, and I've always been the peacemaker in my family, and I went there yesterday and everything was so good, and my sister walked in. She's an active meth addict. You can tell.
Yeah.
And she looked like a skeleton. She was a shell of a person. She had so much pain and anger and negativity in her eyes, and like it's just like that. Like, I see her and I see her, and I'm like, you're in there. Like, and my mom's saying, God, Shayna looked good, and I was like, Mom, no, she didn't. And she said, I don't think she's using. And I said, you forgot what she's like when she's not. It's not that. It's not what just left. That's not her. And it breaks your heart. And last night I went home and I wanted to cry because after being around her, it's just like, I miss her. I feel for her. I see the pain in her eyes. I feel it. But I also can't help. You can't help.
You can't.
My mom always says, like, don't fall in love with a person's potential.
Ooh. I know.
Ooh, I like that one. I need that one sticky note on my wall.
So true, because that's all that it is just like their potential. It's not where they're at right now, and they might not ever get there. They might not want to live up to that potential even. Yeah. You know?
That's amazing. That's an amazing quote. Yeah. Just for the average person who's not an addict.
Yeah.
Then you have an addict, and it's like, fuck, I just want you to, like, have a job and smile. Like, don't stick a needle in your arm. How about that?
Yeah.
That's how it always was with my ex, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, and for a long time, I didn't know he was, like, using even. Like, I didn't know he was, like,
they can hide it.
Meth. Yeah. He was, like, a functioning meth addict, and I was so young, I thought he was just literally
energetic
high from smoking weed. No, he was, like, so fucked up on meth that it wouldn't make him, like, hyperactive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it
like,
does.
when someone's,
So
like, that fucked up.
Yeah.
My sister gets more jittery and meth, like, what the typical tweaker is when she's not high. And then she'll be like, oh, I need to go get my jacket. And she'll go to her car for 10 minutes, come back completely, I mean, not completely, but
just like,
but more functioning.
Calm. Yes.
And I'm like, your body starts to literally need it.
She's high right now. That's why she's calm. Mm-hmm. She gets crazy and tweaker, like, fast movements when she's, like, needing another fix.
Weird. It's so
That's
sad.
Like how my ex would be too, but he would be like, I feel like he'd be more angry.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the biggest difference. Yeah, he would be like really, really angry and like aggressive and want to like punch someone, punch a wall.
Punch you?
Go like fucking hurt someone. No, he never hit me, but he was crazy.
Hi, B.
That's scary.
Yeah, my little kitty's coming out. She felt her energy out here.
Yeah, she did.
Cat.
She's pretty.
Is she a kitten?
No.
She reminds me of a jaguar.
Yeah, she's like maybe
she's
3
really
Wait, no, a
years
panther.
really like
a panther.
Cats, she's really
a black
cute.
panther.
Yes.
Binks, come here.
She likes you, Lena.
She's a lover.
I think she remembers
wants
me
to
from last
snuggle.
time.
She looks like she wants to play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a hard situation to be in, but honestly, it's like, you know, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today is boundaries and like setting those boundaries and like how do you set boundaries with people that you love? Like, it's so freaking hard.
You can do it through love,
it's like, it all comes back to like letting them take responsibility for their own life.
Yes.
Because you're just
100%.
holding them back.
You're enabling.
More. Yeah.
You're enabling the addiction when you help because everybody has to get to a low to pull themselves
That's
out.
why you have to let him sleep in the driveway.
Exactly.
I love you enough to let you go.
Yes.
Like,
that's exactly.
I love you enough to let you sleep in my driveway. Like, it's probably more shitty for you, honestly, than it is for him.
It is because it's
you're
torture.
Going through, that's what I was going to say.
And it's freezing outside. It's literally 17 degrees at night.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to walk out there in the morning and look at him in his truck sleeping and then cry your whole way to work because what the hell.
This was the weird thing, though, is my mom pulled up when he was still sleeping and came in to get Odin, and I was telling her, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my dad out there, and she didn't recognize that it was him, and so she's like, it is? So we came back out to see if he was out there, and he had left. So it's like this thing of like he doesn't want either my mom to see or doesn't want me to know that he was really here. I don't know.
He's a ghost.
But it's just like, okay, like...
Maybe he did feel at least a little bit embarrassed. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, right.
He has a little bit of shame.
He does. Guys, I had a full conversation with him, and like I don't want to share all of the things that we talked about, but Dad, if you are listening, you've gotten this far, I really do love you, and I know that you can do better, and this... I had a healing the other day and talked to Tim about this, what's going on with my dad, and I was telling him, like, I want to help him so bad. Like, I get stuck there all the time because I want to help him so bad, and there has to be something that I can do. I get stuck there. And Tim was like, well, there is something you can do. And that, like, blew my mind a little bit because I've lived my life for so long with my ex trying to just shut it all off and just be blocked and not let anything come in and just... You know, trying to set those boundaries and build those walls so high so he can't get in that when he said that, I was like, oh, shit. Okay, what can I do? But...
What did he say?
He was saying that I should research a home to get him into like an addictive program for addicts.
Yeah.
And they'll literally give you a job all for free, a place to live, they'll help you with your addiction, all of that stuff for free. Like, you can research places like that, and like, they're out there. And he's like, do the research, have all of the information, so that when you sit down with your dad, you can be like, this is the way that I want to help you so bad, I love you so much, and this is the way that I can help you, is I can help you get into this program. I will hold your hand and walk you through getting there, you know, like, I will be your support, but like, in order for me to support you, you have to be doing this for yourself.
Yeah.
And that was like, damn, yeah, that is something I can do, and that is ultimately what I want. But if he doesn't want it,
that's what I was gonna
without being attached to the outcome.
Yes, if he doesn't want it and he's not ready to do that, then I can't help you anymore.
Yep.
I love you.
Most people don't.
But
like,
yeah,
when my dad finally came back and stuck, we didn't know he was going to.
Yeah.
He literally knocked on the front door, had a car, and was like, I really am done this time. Like, I'm done. I want my family back. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Which he'd done so many times before, but this time it just stuck.
Yeah.
He just said something clicked and he was done, and he knew he was never going to use again. But up until that moment,
there's nothing you can do. Well, that's the thing too that the addicts don't recognize, is they think it's all about them, you know? It's like what you're going through, trying to numb what you're going through. They don't think about the adverse effect of who it's affecting and what's happening in your family dynamic because of what you're going through, how much extra stress you're putting on your family because of your addiction and all of those things. And, you know, of course you have to have love and compassion for that person, but also you can still love them and set a boundary and say, I'm not helping anymore.
Yeah.
And yes, harsh love, but you know what? That's what you have to do.
Well, a lot
and
of
then
the
you're
time,
not enabling.
A lot of the time, the addicts do know how bad they're hurting people,
and it makes it worse.
That's what's keeping them using, is because the second the guilt and the shame comes up,
that's so true.
They just
have to numb it out again.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Like, that's, my dad has talked about it. Like, he's like, you would never believe like how heavy and deep that feeling is of the guilt. Like, even still to this day, like, just a few weeks ago, we had the conversation because my dad deals a lot with self-hatred, and I know it's passed down to me because I deal with self-hatred too. Yeah. And I know it's not mine, it's his. Yeah. And through doing psychedelics, I've been like, I've been told, and not actually told by like a spirit or anything, but my intuition has told me that self-hatred that I'm carrying is his. Yeah. That's passed down. And so it's my job to end it. It's really hard.
You're giving me the chills
but
again.
Also, with him living in that self-hatred, we've had the talk, and we've stood in the kitchen just up to recently, and I've told him, like, Dad, you know we forgive you for all that, you know, and he's like, I know you do, I just, like, I can't shake it. And I'm like, because you haven't forgiven yourself.
Yeah, you have to let it go. You have to.
You have to just acknowledge that you did things that in your addiction that you're not proud of, and you'll never be proud of, but also, like, you were a wounded person who didn't know how to deal with their own trauma and got caught up in addiction, and that happened to make you feel better once or twice, and then you kept chasing it.
And like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people that have addiction are just like extra sensory, like they are empaths, they are feeling everything, and to the extent that you can't handle it, and that's why they want to numb out, and they get stuck there because it is too much to handle. And when you didn't grow up in a situation where your parents are teaching you to be comfortable with your emotions and feelings, then how the hell do you even know how to navigate all the anxiety when you become an adult? You know, most importantly, it's like,
you don't,
it's a lot.
Well, it's like you and I, Sadie, you know? We both have addictive tendencies because, I mean, my dad, your dad, like, and look
it's
at
in
us,
our family, like it's literally
is.
In our extended family.
So it's like, oh, we're gonna smoke weed to numb. Well, I'm not just gonna smoke weed today. I'm gonna smoke weed tomorrow too, and then the next day, God, it'd be nice to be high right now. I wouldn't have to feel.
And when it
sometimes, like for me, actually, most of the time when I smoke, it like grounds me and it brings me back to center, and it makes me realize all the ways in which I've been having major anxiety all day. I'm like, God, why am I holding on to all that shit? I don't need that.
You can view everything in such a different way, and that's what the beautiful part about weed. And I have really, this is why it's really hard for me, because I notice my addictive tendencies in the way that when I start smoking, I feel like I have to smoke every day. Like, I notice that pattern, but it's really weird. I'm trying to work through this on my own right now, because I'm so aware of when I'm smoking and how I'm using it. Like, I'm not using it to really numb out pain and emotion and feeling, because I'm feeling all of those things. I do it when I get to the point of overwhelm where I felt it way too much to the point where I'm literally like
gonna explode.
It's too much for my system to handle. That's what it feels like. Yes.
I have an addiction to like escapism.
See?
Too.
It's an off button.
I think it's human. Honestly, I think everyone has their own form of addiction, regardless if it's drugs, alcohol, you know, reading too much. Like, literally, it could be things like that, you know?
Exactly.
It's easy.
I feel like I have an addictive personality, too, and I've had to work on it a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's just...
And just think about all of us with our cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like, with everything.
And how often do you just pick your cell phone up to look at it to check the time or see if you have a notification? Like, that's an addiction in itself.
Yeah.
In a past episode, I talked about, I can't remember, the judge, like the person who judges, like the judgment itself. There's also an addictive one.
Yes.
We have an addictive, you know, little personality inside of us. Yes, just a part of us that's the addictive one, or the one who judges, or the one who has compassion. We have all these different people. It's like we're all...
But it's not us.
But it's...
We're the center of it all.
Right. But our soul is the center of it all, and those are all just these, like...
parts of us. I love that because you don't have to identify with it. You can embrace it and say, okay, my addictive one is very active today.
Right.
Whatever. I'm
not
get
her.
Stoned. Yeah, that's not me. Yeah. It's okay to get
have
stoned
compassion
tonight.
for that person and know why you're doing it. Like, I think that's the most important thing. Knowing why you're doing it.
The patterns.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I'm smoking right now because I'm just going to chill and I have the night off and I'm just going to embrace it. Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, sometimes just sitting with it is totally fine.
Yeah, right. But I think it's all about being aware of it. And I was talking to Tim about this too. Once you start to become aware of things in life, the addiction doesn't have a hold on you anymore. It's like you're aware of why you're using it and then you don't use it for that reason anymore. Like, it's all around awareness, you know? But anyway, that's what's been going on for me. That was half the podcast. What time are we at?
Well, I only started recording like...
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
no worries.
Do you guys know what the Ho'oponopono meditation is? Have you guys ever heard of that?
I feel like I've heard of that. That sounds familiar.
It's so it's like a Hawaiian meditation or like a mantra.
Yeah.
And it means I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And it's so cool. There's like all these studies that have been done on it, but the one that I know like specifically, there's like this therapist in Hawaii. And he started working at this prison, and it was like, I think it was in Hawaii, I don't know for sure. But it's like the most dangerous prison, like, in the state or whatever. And basically, he started doing the Ho'oponopono for all of the prison mates. Like, he was just doing it for them, right? So he's like taking on, it sounds kind of messed up, but...
Kind of like meditating for them?
Okay.
Like sending them Reiki
he's like
almost?
telling them, because we're all one, right?
Yeah.
He's saying like, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. Like, from him to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For whatever is going on with them.
They're in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
And after like a month, literally there was like no more stabbings, no more like violence, whatever. And then I think eventually he like implemented it into all of the prison mates like doing it.
Yeah.
And now it's like not
Their
even
thing.
Yeah, it's like not even a
violent prison anymore.
Yeah, like at all.
Damn.
I know. It's really
That's
crazy.
beautiful.
And I've actually like done it myself too a few times, and I feel like it's like really powerful.
Yeah.
I did it one time we had this guy that delivers flowers to the restaurant, and he was always like so nice to Jose's parents, and then every time that I would have to help him, I just felt like he like hated me for some reason, and it started to like hurt my feelings. And instead of like taking it on like that, I just started doing that meditation, and then literally like the next time he came in, we became friends, and then like the whole time after that we were friends, and he would come in and tell me all about his life. Like everything. He was going through all this crazy stuff. His brother just killed himself. Like all this crazy stuff, and it's just like...
So what is the meditation? Like, what do you do?
So literally you just keep repeating the mantra, and you can dedicate it to yourself for forgiving yourself. You can dedicate it to the collective, like whoever.
How do you say?
One more time.
Say the mantra slow.
Okay, so it's H-O, and then there's like a apostrophe.
A hyphen.
A hyphen?
Wait.
I don't know.
No. It is apostrophe. You're right. Yeah. Ho.
Ho.
Ho. We all ho. The ho.
And then it's Opono. So O-P-O-N-O.
I know. Ho'opono ono. Isn't that a guy?
Pono. Again. Pono again.
So ho,
I think that's right.
Opono.
Yeah, Ho'oponopono. And I don't know if I even say it like right,
That's okay.
but it's really hard to say, and that's the easiest way that I've like found to say it.
And what does it mean again?
So it means I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And I think sometimes it goes in a different order, but it really doesn't matter like what order you're saying it in.
Yep.
Just as long as you're, it's like what you just said, your intention.
Right.
But that's like my favorite meditation
to
do, and I love to do it like for the collective. And I don't know, you guys were talking about forgiveness, right? Like your dad like not being able to forgive himself and stuff, and it's crazy like the power of forgiveness.
Yeah, right.
Right? And forgiving yourself like heals so much.
It does.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. It's hard to have compassion for yourself and like love yourself. Most importantly, loving yourself. That's what it comes down to. Is loving yourself.
Well, and that helps you like love the world.
Right.
Oh, every single thing is a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself. Every relationship you have and everything. That's
what was so wild. I was thinking about that today. That's what's so wild about like seeing my dad go through addiction and then it literally hitting me, and that next couple days like I fell into this spiral of smoking again in my own addiction, and I was like, damn, that was a straight up mirror.
Wow.
Like, that was a mirror for me of like
maybe you needed
addiction.
That then.
But see, being aware, like I'm aware that it is a mirror, and that's where the power comes, that's where you take your power back, is the awareness. And like I don't know, it's a hard thing to do, and I feel like I'm still really stuck in it. But we also have had an episode so far about light and dark, if you guys have listened to that one, and I do feel like I'm just kind of in a dark little spiral right now. And while I'm in it, it feels really shitty, and like I've loved doing this podcast and felt so good and everything, and then it's like I just hit this low and I'm stuck here, and I'm trying to just be in the moment and have compassion for myself and just like be where I'm at. And also I know that it's gonna get better. Like I feel that. I trust that it's not gonna be this way forever. It just really fucking sucks to be in it, you know?
Now.
Right, but it's part of it. It's part of the journey and healing and awareness and, all the things.
Yeah.
And we're doing it. That's also why I wanted to talk about this really personal stuff on this episode. Me and Elena were talking before, trying to decide if we should share about these really personal things about our life. But honestly, I think that we just want to be real. Yeah, about
authentic.
What we're going through. And, starting like recording today, I've been having a really hard time like just talking about things, and like I already feel better.
I know.
I already
do.
do.
You feel better already.
I do.
I love that. See,
because you need to talk about it, and it's healing to share hard experiences with people who hear you and understand. And even if you don't understand, you're listening, creating a space for this healing. And I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you guys.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and even you, Elena, sharing about what's going on. Like,
well, like
so hard with
yesterday,
your sister.
my family party with my sister. Every time, I didn't notice how bad it was, but every time we spend family time together, Bryce would tell me when we get home, like, God, every time we're around your family, you just fall into a slump.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like I do, because I get around them and I love them all so freaking much. So I feel all of their energies, and I'm a fixer too. Like I want to fix, and everyone comes to me to fix everything, and like I've always fixed everything and mended relationships
like
in my
the
family.
Little glue that holds your family together.
Yeah,
100%.
I am. Yeah,
you are that person.
I am, and I love it, and I'm
You're like passionate about it.
Yeah, because my biggest compliment that I can get from someone is when they tell me that I'm a good listener, that I'm open-minded. Like I know my purpose here is to help other people feel normal, heard. Like I know that because I've just been told that so many times, and it just lights this fire in my heart. So when I can be that for my family, it does the same. However, with them, like the people I care about the most, it gets to a point where like I have to tell them no.
Yeah.
And
You have to set the boundary.
And sometimes all setting a boundary is just committing myself to only listening and to everything they say rather than trying to jump in and fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you should try this. Or like, which so many of us want to do, but like switching from a fixing mentality to a listening mentality and just holding space.
Right.
Yeah.
90% of the time when I bitch about stuff, that's
all
all
you
I
want.
want
You
is
just gave me the
just
chills.
listen. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me what to do. Like, I'm a problem solver. I'll figure my shit out.
I
And
just want to vent.
Yeah,
Yes.
just listen. Like,
and if you're trying to fix it for them, then they are not getting the fruit from what they're going through.
Yep.
They're not feeling it. They're not going through it. It's like
Yep.
my
They're
mom.
not
She's an
learning
extreme
anything from
enabler, right?
yeah.
You're enabling that person to not feel anything when you're trying to fix everything for them. And it's like, yeah. You can't do
Meanwhile,
that
she's
forever,
like,
you know?
pounding herself into the sand and can't breathe because
Right.
she's trying to fix everybody else.
Right.
Trying to do it
But when
for
you're
everyone.
not aware of it and you don't know that you're doing it, then you're just stuck in the pattern anyway, you know?
Guys, the whole reason why we're doing this podcast is to raise awareness, and
Yes.
because awareness is literally the key
the
to like
key.
your heart center. If you want to be centered in life,
100%.
become aware. Notice your thoughts. Notice your patterns.
Mhm.
Notice who you are around and how your energy is when you leave them. Are you leaving them with heavy ass freaking negative energy, and is
Yeah.
it directed at you, or are you carrying their energy when they haven't asked you to? You're
This
just
goes
taking it home.
perfect. Yes, this goes perfect into what I was writing down earlier. When you are first setting a boundary, you might feel like really selfish and like, oh, like I'm not trying to help other people. Like, is this messed up of me? Feeling really, really selfish. Guilty because, yes, guilt is huge for me. Guilt because you're being selfish, but also at first, like, you might feel angry and stressed and everything, but I feel like it gets like better as time goes on. That you know, the more that you set the boundary, the easier that it gets. And it's like, then you get to a point where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not taking on as much throughout the day, you know what I mean, as I was before. And like things, I don't know, get a little bit easier. I also kind of wanted to talk with you guys about like, just how do you set boundaries with like your kids and letting your kids set their own boundaries. And also we can talk about like siblings and friends and parents. Like, I feel like every dynamic is just a little bit different, you know, as far as with like kids, like with Odin, I've been trying to let him like set his own boundaries and like do it with him as well. Like when I need my space, like he wants to sleep with me every single night and I say, no, like you are sleeping in your bed and mom sleeps in her bed. Like that's my boundary I'm setting, because if he sleeps with me, I don't sleep good. You know, sometimes he'll crawl into bed with me in the middle of the night, but that's okay. You
That's
know,
different, yeah.
Yes, but even like me tickling him, if I'm tickling him too much and he says, no, mom, stop, like stop tickling me, then that's a boundary he's setting. And like, I think it's important to, you know, like listen to your kids when they say stuff like that. You know, to stop tickling me or whatever it is.
Well,
You have to stop. That's their own boundary that they're setting. You know what I mean? Just teaching them to set their own boundaries. And like with parents, of course, it's really hard to set boundaries. But you also talked about this on an episode with like your sister and your mom of just having to be like, I'm not talking about this anymore. Like, we've talked about this multiple times before, and we're not talking about it anymore, at least not from me.
Yeah.
I love you guys, and I hope you figure it out, but...
Well, it's
done.
like what Elena was saying. Like, for years, I feel like every time I was around my family, it's like, because I love them so much, I would leave feeling like...
depleted.
and like depressed, because I just wanted everything to be like perfect and everyone to be happy and us to be able to be like a happy family together.
Right.
And I would take that on a lot, and I feel like the more I have like let that go, actually naturally things have like gotten better.
Right.
You know?
Because you're you're allowing them to
exactly.
learn their own
and
lessons.
we're all like healing ourselves, you know?
Yep.
Damn.
And the more that you set a boundary with people, I feel like they kind of gain respect for you in a way.
I think so
And it's a
too.
mirror for them of like, damn, maybe I should do that
Yes,
more
Maybe
often.
I
is.
should freaking level up and
100%.
like start trying harder in my own life.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that was exactly what happened this summer. That I keep mentioning every episode probably.
That's okay.
But yeah, when I talked to my sister and my mom about it, and I'm like, we can't do this anymore. Like, it's bringing me down. It's bringing all of us down. Like, you guys have to take action, or like we can't talk about it anymore. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
You know?
We get in these
but
dynamics.
everything has gotten better since then.
Yeah.
For all of us, I think.
feel like we get in these dynamics with family of, like, every morning I'll call my mom and my sister, but it's always just to, like, bitch about other family members. Like, oh, how was last night? Oh, was dad like this? Or, oh, was she like this? Or how was
Gossiping
this?
is, like, addictive, right? And you don't
It
even
is.
know it's gossiping sometimes. You're like, oh, we're just venting, but really it is, like, gossip almost, and it's so addictive.
It's like planting the seed. If you
Yeah.
plant the seed and you continue to water it, and thought after
Yeah.
thought, you, like, attach emotion to the thought, it becomes this whole freaking thing that just sucks your energy. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
You want to hear a story? Something that happened last night for me. So, number one, marriage is fucking hard. We all know this. Like, marriage is hard. You add kids into it, it's way harder. Like, kids messed up my marriage. Like, because I was 23. I was a child still. Like, brains don't even stop developing until what?
I think
Mid-20s?
25, 26.
Yeah.
26 was mine where I was
Me
like,
too.
yeah, I'm figuring myself out. Like, I
too.
felt like I just was, like, grown up a little
Yep.
more. Just hit.
For sure. Yeah, my awakening hit in 2018. How old
Yeah.
was I in 2018? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 25.
It's like your brain's a little more developed.
It clicked. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is how life works.
Well, also, you know, like from 27 to 33, that's like when you move into like your sun sign, I think.
Yeah.
Aw.
And so
They
that's
say-
like basically a whole change. Like you'll probably go through like a dark night of the soul, and then kind of by the time you're like 33,
Yeah.
you've like figured it out.
Yep.
Pretty
Right.
much. So I feel like I've been the same exact way. Like probably when I was 26, that's when I first started like hitting that blissful state that I was talking about with you guys earlier. And then 27 was rough, really rough, right? And now I'm almost 28. I'm getting a little closer.
Yep.
I'm sure it's going to be like up and down again, but I feel like there was definitely like a big shift from being 26 to 27
Yep.
and
Yep.
25 to 26 too.
They say 27 is like your year.
Yeah, I think
Right.
it's like your golden year or something like that.
We
What's
need to
it
have Tim
called?
on to talk about
I
that.
can't remember.
I would love
I
that.
love that.
Anyway.
So I got married at 21, which is
Yeah.
way too young. Like, I fell in love, whatever. Anyways, so much of my self-worth, which I know now, didn't know at the time, was based on how my significant other perceived me. So, growing up, my dad was MIA. I internalized it because that's what kids do. I thought I wasn't worthy. I named every single thing that was wrong with me. I'm not skinny enough. My boobs aren't big enough. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have these eyebrows or this hair or anything. Like, I am ugly, basically. I'm unworthy of love.
Yeah.
Deep core freaking belief, okay? So then, I get a boyfriend, freaking attached to him, expect him to fill this cup that my dad couldn't fill. That was such a deep wound that he couldn't fill either. So then that left me feeling more unworthy. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I was expecting a 17-year-old kid to fill this cup for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A whole fatherly cup of, like, unworthiness.
Yeah.
And didn't happen. Well, I dated a few other people after that. Same thing, okay? Well, I get with Bryce, and he happened to fill that cup completely, okay? But, like, although it was full, it was still extremely empty. It, like, fulfilled me for the first few months of my marriage, and then it all came back. It was like the cup had a hole in the bottom
do that
of it.
all the time, right?
Well, it's not his job.
And
Yeah,
he can't do
exactly.
that for you. It's your own
It's-
self-love that you need to give yourself. He
Yeah.
can't fill that cup for you all the time. It's going to
I need
always
to be-
reflected back to you so you can go deep in your own self.
I need to be
Was
my
the cat just
own.
like, oh, your
The cat was
face?
just licking its asshole
Right
right
in
next
your
to me.
face.
I don't
Your
want that
face.
freaking smell
Get
next
that,
to me.
ew.
Get that stank out of here. No, but
Yeah, it's a real
but
thing.
I didn't know, but I needed to fill my own cup. Well, while I was busy in my marriage thinking that it was his job to fill my cup. I was him and I, when I got pregnant and had my first baby, he was very disconnected from me in the pregnancy and stuff, and it left me feeling like so alone in my pregnancy.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of issues in my marriage and stuff. And I, like, a lot of women grow up thinking about their wedding. I didn't give a shit about my wedding. Like, my immediate family was there. We went to my mom's after and ate enchiladas. Like, I'm not about big weddings.
Yeah.
If you are, that's amazing. But for me, it was, I always pictured myself being pregnant and becoming a mother, and then having, like, my husband there, like, touching my belly and
This
being with
fairy
the
tale
baby.
life.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, and that's what I thought I was going to have.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what I got, and
Yeah.
it broke me. Like, him not wanting to come to one of my ultrasounds wrecked me. Like,
Yeah.
it hurt so bad. And
Like, you don't care at all.
yeah, I was like, this is your baby, and
Yeah.
you don't even want to come? Like, I'm
Yeah.
alone. I'm single. That's how
Yeah.
I felt, and it hurt so bad. And then,
I'm sorry.
anyways, don't be sorry. We've dealt with all of
I know,
that.
but that's so hard.
It is
It
hard.
was very...
Especially when you live it up in your head of how being pregnant's
Right.
going to be and with this person. And, you know, I kind of like experienced that going through my first pregnancy.
That's what I
You know,
mean.
I'm not
Oh,
going
yeah.
to bring it back to me, but
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
It's
And
awful.
it's the worst.
Because
To
you're
not have anyone.
also being stuck in this whole mindset of I have to be 110 pounds
Yep.
and super skinny, and I need to
You
have
don't
big
want your
tits
body to
and
change like during
Mhm.
the pregnancy, and then you're like, is
But it
this why
does.
he's like ignoring
Mhm.
me or
Yes.
whatever?
he
And
thinks I'm gross.
Yeah.
Weird things are happening to my body. I look funny in the mirror. I don't fit
Yeah.
in my
you're
clothes.
Like, I don't look sexy when
Yeah.
we're trying
Your
to like
mind.
do it.
Yeah.
Or,
You don't look
Yeah.
sexy during
Yeah.
sex, like, and it just, he couldn't
Yeah.
connect, and I know, he would tell me all the time, like, it's not about you, there's a baby in there, and, like, I feel weird hugging you, I don't want to squish the baby, and, like, just,
Yeah.
some guys are like that.
Yeah.
Some guys are like that. Some
Yeah.
guys are, like, love pregnant women and see a pregnant woman and want to fuck them, but, like,
Yeah.
he was not like
Straight
that.
up,
He
yeah.
was
Yeah.
just weird about it, and it hurt. Like, I internalized that so hard. Like, anyway, we healed that part of us through a lot of deep conversations and a lot of soul searching, and, like, I really let go of a lot of that stuff with the help of mushrooms, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was all healed. Well, last night, now my second baby is a year and a half, Demi, and I'm still nursing her. And some people think it's weird, like, whatever, but I wanted to nurse her for at least a year. I only nursed Cash for 5.5 months and gave up just because it was convenient, it worked,
Yeah.
whatever, but with Demi, I was like, I want to make it to a year, and then a year passed, and all of a sudden it was 13 months, and
Yeah.
here I am at 18, and she asks for it twice a day, morning
Yeah.
and night, and I
Yeah.
give it to her, and I'm not, like, keeping it going, but I'm not going to stop. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
who cares?
Right.
You know? Like, I'm
Yeah.
nourishing my child.
That's, yeah.
Last night, she came and was like, boob, boob, and, like, lifting my shirt, and
Yeah.
she was about to go to bed, and so, like, I gave her the boob, and he looked at me, and he was like, God, it just weirds me the fuck out that you're still breastfeeding her. And, like, the old me popped in for a split second with no emotion, though, but the old thought, and it was like, holy shit, that 3 years ago would have wrecked me, that comment. Like, you would have just
Right.
made me feel so much shame
Yeah.
for nursing my child. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the old me would have been so hurt by that.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart for that version of me. But then the new me, I just looked back at him and I was like, oh, like,
You're like, well,
basically,
sorry.
I was like,
I'm gonna
oh,
do it anyway.
you're gonna have to just get over that.
Yeah.
Sorry, basically, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can go over there and fuck yourself.
Uh-huh.
And, like,
Are
The
you gonna
fact-
feed our kid?
yeah. Well, the fact that
She's
I had,
a baby.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
still a baby.
She is a
yeah,
baby.
I had zero
Like, remorse?
emotional, like,
Like it
it
didn't hurt you.
affect. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like,
You didn't
how
have a
the
reaction. You're like
hallelujah.
way less reactionary.
I had no reaction
Yeah.
other than one
child
becoming
needs you.
aware
Yeah.
that, like, that used to hurt really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also clicking, like, oh shit, so all that time that hurt me so bad, I was basing my worth off your opinion of me and what I did and how I looked. Wow, like, I was cheating myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Drop
now,
a bomb right now. That's
Yeah.
a freaking realization.
Yeah, did you like go high five yourself in the
Yeah.
mirror?
I felt it, like, it was like my inner guides were singing hallelujah.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, damn,
I
I
feel it right
freaking
now.
based
Me too.
my worth being pregnant off of your opinion of me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
And we all freaking do that. Not all of us, but most of us, we really do. We look for
Yeah.
validation in other people
In other
when
people.
it really is all about going within.
That's why I
Yeah.
wanted to do this podcast. I don't
Yeah.
want to like care what
Yeah.
anyone thinks. I just want to like accept myself.
That's
and
what
Just
we're
be
doing.
who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And like
And
figure
if
yourself
someone
out.
doesn't like me, then like that's
Kindly
fine.
fuck
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, like
Like,
I'm just me. Like I
Wish you
can't.
the best,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
And we're
double
all
freaking
human,
middle
going
fingers.
through our own human experience.
We all have
and,
our
like,
own like purpose.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. Hell yeah, guys.
Hell yeah.
That feels good.
It's crazy.
That was a good conversation.
I like your story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy when you get older and you like mature spiritually and emotionally, and then you make those connections. It's like,
See,
I feel bad for me back then. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I could just go give her a hug and tell her your worth doesn't depend on what like men think of you.
yeah.
Yep.
I thought for so long that it did, because as a kid, all I was trying to get was a man, my dad's love,
Yeah.
and he wasn't giving it to me.
Yeah.
I even remember going to Grandma Rose's house, and like
Yeah.
you and Mariah were climbing all over his lap, and Uncle Gary and me and Mary were standing at the front door, and he literally like couldn't even come up to us.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, so he loves my cousins, but he doesn't love me.
Yeah, like there's something wrong with
What's
me.
wrong with me? It's because I'm the ugly one in the group. Literally. Like, as a little girl, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Me and Mary were gross. We were ugly.
I know, you always say that, and that
Mhm.
seems so crazy that you had that idea of yourself that you were gross or ugly.
It's still, to this day, is a core belief I have. Like, I still
Can
feel...
I ask you, like, what is with the gross part of it? Like, where do you think that
The
came
gross
from? Because
part
I
of
feel
it?
like you always mention that, and I'm always
That
like,
you feel
what,
gross.
Like, what do you mean? And where did that come from?
It
Like,
came from that situation. Just
Yeah.
that in general. Because Sadie and I are cousins.
Yeah, I
and
feel like I know what you're talking
Some
about, but I
gross-
didn't ever
gross
feel that
thing.
way about you. But I remember you guys feeling that way.
about ourselves.
Yes, and I don't think we ever really talked about it, but I think that I like...
could tell that they felt that way?
Yeah, and also, like, I think some of our family is a little bit judgmental. We're not going to name names, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think that, like,
A
some
lot
of
of
the
them.
people that we grew up with,
Maybe
We're
they
like
were
that and
bullying
kind of
about
more-
it.
yeah, just, like, degrading a little bit,
Yeah.
that, like, they're better than you, and,
Yeah.
like, some people do that, you know?
Mhm.
Totally.
And when you, like, grow up with people like that, like, I had that situation, too, with some of our cousins growing up.
Mhm.
You know, where I felt like I was the one that was lesser than them because they just made me feel that way. So I feel like when all of us were around and hanging out, and we had a lot of cousins that were in the same age group as us.
7.
Yes.
a lot.
Yes, there was a
Same
lot
age
of them that made us feel that way. And I think me and Mariah connected with you guys a lot. We were definitely the closest.
I
Yeah,
think, too,
with you
there's, like, a
guys.
lot of competition,
There is.
right?
Right. But I don't know. But I feel like I remember you guys, like, talking about feeling that way. And yeah, can you think of, like, where
it stems from being the black sheep of the family. We were the kids of the drug addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
And
made you feel like dirty.
yeah,
Like
it made me
gross
feel
in that
very
way.
dirty and
Is that
gross.
what you mean?
Mhm.
And something you can't control either, I'm sure.
It was like if
yeah.
you show up to the neighbor's house smelling like cigarettes, and everybody
Yeah.
looks at you like you're smoking cigarettes. Like, oh, they
Okay.
stink. Or we had friends in the neighborhood
Yeah.
who couldn't play with us because my dad smoked on the porch. Like,
Yeah.
stupid shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
It really
and
is so stupid.
it made me feel dirty, and
Yeah.
it made me feel gross. Like, I remember being in 6th grade, and we were running the pacer, and there was a popular girl. She was the cute one, and she was beautiful, and she was like, here, you want some of my water? And she shared her water bottle with me, and I remember in 6th grade, 12 years old, feeling like, why is she sharing her water bottle with me? I'm gross. Like, she doesn't want my lips on her freaking water bottle. I'm gross.
Yeah.
Like, it was so deep, and it's still there. Like, even when you, like, touched my face the other day,
Yeah.
I was like, I still feel like, God, why would she want to touch my face? She should probably go wash her hands. Like, just,
Yeah.
it's so,
It's like a
deep.
deeply ingrained
Yep.
feeling. I'm sorry,
And then,
Elena.
don't be sorry,
But
but
I am because
showing
that's
up,
hard to
like,
go through.
Yeah, it's sad.
showing up as
like-
kids and seeing my dad bond with you guys,
Yeah.
and we were just standing there, like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
what the heck, Dad? You don't love us like that?
Yeah.
And like having him be in and out of your house all the time too, and like never knowing if it's real or not, like if he's gonna stay, like that's freaking traumatizing.
Hell yeah, it
Of
is.
course.
And like,
Like,
I
of
look
course.
at Cash and I'm like, God, if that was her dad, like, and she saw her dad bonding with other
Yeah.
kids her age, but for whatever reason he couldn't even come up to her and give her a
Yeah.
hug, like,
Yeah.
you know, I always thought, oh, it's probably because Sadie and Mariah wear Aeropostale and like my mom buys our
Yeah.
clothes at Old Navy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like shit that kids internalize
Yeah.
like that.
Well, you do as a child, too.
Don't be sorry.
But you don't know another way as a child. That's how you
don't.
Internalize. It's like, oh, it must be me.
It's
That's
me.
your immediate thought is it must be me. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of podcasts talk about that, like childhood wounding and trauma. Like, that's what happens.
Because you take it personal. You don't,
Yeah.
you're not mature
You
enough
don't know
to
another
know
way.
it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with you.
Right.
That's a drug addict
Right.
who can't bond with his kids because he can't even look them in the eyes. He's hurting them so bad.
Yeah. Can
You
I
know?
give you a hug?
Oh,
I need to give you a hug.
Me too.
Let's have a group hug. I'm sorry that you
Pause.
feel that way.
Pause the show.
This is part of the show. Love for each other, and we love you, Lena. You're not gross. You're freaking beautiful.
You are. I've never
And
thought
you're
you were
so
gross
strong and
once.
so amazing, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. Take it in, okay?
I'm taking it.
I love you. Can we never leave? I love you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. That's so hard, and those core woundings like really do stick with you. It's like it's hard to you can never really shake it. You know
You
what I mean? It's
can't.
always
Yeah,
there.
even
in the
though you've
background.
already done so much healing, it's like even talking about it now, it still brings it back up, right?
Yeah.
Because it's fresh. I was
Yeah.
talking to Bryce about it earlier. I was
Yeah.
like, God, I just still have this like feeling that I'm just so ugly. Like I gotta fix all these things about me.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
It's always there.
holy shit,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Do you feel like you have moments in your life where you're like, damn, I'm pretty hot? Like you start to like kind of
Ever
look at
come out of it?
Yeah, do you ever come out of it and you're like when you're doing certain things in life, like I feel like sometimes doing certain things to, you know, make you feel better, like yoga or working out. I mean, I
Yeah.
know working
Yeah.
out is good for you. Like you have that, you know,
Yeah.
that you love. But do you feel like you feel like that when you're working out and just feeling really good in your body? Like, damn, I'm pretty dope.
It's really weird. Like there's a part of me that like sometimes will know like that I'm pretty. I could tell by the way people
Yeah.
act around me, or like at work I can tell that like I'm a powerful person at work, and
Yeah.
like, you know, but
You can't fully take it in.
yeah, there's just this big heavy aching side of me that it's just
Yeah.
so
You
deep.
like don't believe it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's weird,
yeah.
but like
It's not weird. I think it's normal.
I think it's
Yeah,
too,
it
or else
is, right?
we both wouldn't be
Yeah,
like
I resonate
being
with
able
you.
to like
Yes.
finish your sentence.
right.
or like if someone says like, oh, you look pretty, like there's always a part of me that's like, you say that because you know that I'm ugly and
Mhm.
you want me to feel better,
Yeah.
like just don't even,
Gosh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
But can I just say it's so beautiful that you're aware that you have those thoughts? Because
Oh.
awareness, you're bringing awareness to it, and you are fucking healing it.
I'm ready to like
are.
heal it and
Yeah.
do like I've been today I pulled the High Priestess card upside down, which tells me that I'm kind of ignoring my intuition,
Yeah.
and I know I have been. Like there's certain pings that I have and callings that I have that I'm not acting upon.
Yep.
And I'm like, I just need to act on that. Like one of them is trying to get like I need to get some stones and research how to open my throat chakra, because right now like with how I'm training to be a trainer, like that's my biggest problem is I can't like get my voice.
Yeah.
Let's do a Reiki
Activated?
session for you.
Yeah,
I
we
was gonna
should.
ask you if
I have
you
a
wanted
throat
to
chakra
do
bowl that we can.
a Reiki,
play with.
but sing for the Reiki for me.
Oh.
I can try to sing. I don't know what I'll sing, but
You know
I
what
know.
would be cool though is if you guys sung like together.
Mm-hmm.
That would like definitely help open yours up.
Oh my
you
god,
sing?
I'll do it
Play
with the
that.
plastic. Can we get like Macy's bags and put them over our head?
Yeah.
I'll do
Macy's
it.
bag? Oh, like a paper bag?
That's,
Yeah.
that's literally something that, like, I think I've told you guys that when I do Reiki. I don't think I've told
Yeah,
you
you were
this.
Yeah.
telling me.
I, like, feel myself wanting to sing and, like,
Uh-huh.
use sound to heal. And, like, I really do think sound is so fucking healing.
It is.
It really is. And using your voice to, like, create certain frequencies and things like that. Like, that's ultimately what I want to do. I don't know what I'm doing, but we can figure it out and we can try.
Oh, I'm down though. I'll be the
I would
guinea
love
pig.
that.
Like, and then you do your Reiki too.
Yeah.
Like,
We could do a.
Why don't we have, like, a
three-way
little...
Reiki
Yeah.
session.
let's have a threesome Reiki
Why don't
session.
You know what I mean?
How would we do that?
Easy.
One from the bottom, one from
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah, one can even beam from across the room, or
I
whatever.
think,
There's,
honestly,
like, so
even
many
us
ways
just,
to
like,
do it.
having these conversations, too, is healing our throat chakra.
Of course.
This is
It
huge.
is.
This is huge for me. I feel
This is
like this
huge.
has actually been helping me get way more confident. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just like the initial part of me like letting go, caring what people thought, or if it's actually been recording or what it is. But like I feel like the last month I've really noticed I'm finally like kind of back to my old like bubbly self that I always was. Like growing up and all through high school I always was like outgoing, talking to everyone. And then actually in one of my sessions with my basically my healer, I'll just say, she like identified this, I don't know what age it was. I think it was when I was like 18 where I had like a total like soul from body disconnect. And that was where my throat was always just like closed off and I never felt like I could like laugh. Like every time something funny would happen, I just like would be like but like I never like I look at other people and would see them like laughing so hard and I'm like, why can't I do that? Anyway,
that's so neat, Jessie.
Just basically I feel like this last month I'm like talking to the cashiers again at the grocery store, just talking to everyone, and that's how I always used to be. And then for a long time, like a lot of years, I've lost that, and finally I'm like coming back to it, and it's just natural. I don't even know I'm doing it.
I feel like I know what it is. What? I think that you're like speaking your truth. You're saying how you feel. You're talking about your opinions and how you feel and saying it. Like we have all these thoughts in our head and we can think about all the ways of how we think about things and how we really feel, but when you actually speak it out into existence and say this is how I feel about something, or share your experience through words, like it really like shows your soul who you are. Does that make sense?
It's like, and like listening to it back, right? And being like, oh yeah, that is actually like how I feel about it. It's kind of like the same as writing, but I'm actually speaking it.
Well, mantras. Just the other day, like the other day I got anxiety and I went outside and I did what the holistic psychologist did and I started tapping on my forehead and I was like, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. I looked like a freak. But I was like, damn, I feel safe again. I was looking at the mountains and I was like, oh, I am safe. I've told myself I'm safe in my head, but saying it out loud and hearing it and speaking it, it's like, oh wait, I am.
Right.
It clicks.
Right. It's like the words are everything.
And saying them out loud. Instead of like saying them in your head.
Well, even to other people too. Like you can set boundaries that aren't harsh. Like for instance, me sharing good news with my in-laws. Like my mother-in-law tends to go straight to like, oh, how are you going to do that? Well, how's that going to work? So you're just going to quit your job and you're just going to... It's like... No, actually, I'm not. And I have no fucking idea what I'm going to do with it. But it's happening. And
it's going to work out.
Yeah. And I'm not attached to any outcome. See? And that's where I'm at. And she's like,
the trust. And isn't that
such
a beautiful way to live?
Well, you're so confident in yourself, right? She's like, oh...
Okay. Oh, no one can trump you when you're confident and you believe what you say. It's like, hey, all those horrible things can happen. And I might get in a wreck on the way there. But fuck it. I'm going. Like...
It's better to live fully than, like, safely, right?
100%.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Hell yeah. I think we're at, like, an hour.
I was going to say, I think we had a really good conversation.
Yeah.
How do you guys
feel
about it?
Just happened, like...
Just a random conversation again.
Authentically,
We wanted to talk about boundaries, and I think that we did.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about boundaries.
Well, it's kind of funny, though, because we didn't know if we were going to.
I know, and then it kind
of
fell
into planning on it, and then we're like, let's just talk about whatever, and then it all just ended up happening.
Well, so that's why we wanted to do the boundaries, because we are in it. Like, this is where we are right now. Like,
that's the beautiful thing about this podcast is we haven't had one shortcoming. It's like, oh, what are we going to talk about this week? Oh, well, what's happening in my life is boundary issues. You too? Yeah, me too. Let's talk about that. And it's real and raw, and it's happening this week, today, yesterday, the day before. Like, today, it's happening.
Do you guys feel better? Because I know you two were the ones, like, going through it more.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. Honestly, I think just, like, talking through this with you guys is, like... creating this space to talk, even just like us three. If no one listens to this podcast, I don't give two shits.
It's healing for us.
It's healing for us. Like talking through this and having people to just listen and like, ping pong off of is so healing in its own way.
It's crazy the synchronicities that are coming up. Because yesterday I got a massage and my massage girl is freaking amazing. Victoria, shout out. But we always have these. We always have these, like, really in-depth spiritual conversations. And she's like, God, I just love you because I can't talk to people about this, And we talk about it, but she was talking about how she needs to open up her throat chakra. So every day on her way to work, she's like, I belt it out in the car. Like, I'm singing. And she's like, I've just been singing a lot and talking about that. And then also I asked her, I was like, how do I get more comfortable, like, in my own skin? And she was like, just start loving yourself. Like, that's the only way out. Mm-hmm. And you see it everywhere. Like, self-love is the key, but it's so hard to,
Can I just say that high five?
The
we learned
Mel Robbins.
Yeah. Yes, you guys.
Connecting with yourself.
Again. Goddamn. Yes, connecting with yourself every morning. Like, I've been trying to, not actually since I've been having a shitty time, but for the first little while, I was doing it every morning, and it did just kind of remind me, like, I got this. Just that simple reminder of, like, I got this every morning.
And it takes 2 seconds,
yes.
right?
Yes. You are your own best friend.
Just try it for 2 weeks and see what happens.
Yeah.
Can we all try it? That's our homework.
I'm down.
High five yourself in the morning or at some point throughout the day, okay?
So do you actually go up and, like, hit the mirror and be like, high five,
I put my hand on it and look at myself in the eyes and I'm just like, yes.
Me too.
I go on the day.
I always talk about New Girl. Like,
I love that.
But there's this episode of New Girl when she's, like, trying to have sex with this guy and she's, like, too nervous. So she, like, goes into the bathroom and she starts talking to herself. And she's like... I think she says something stupid like, you got this, tiger.
Yes.
And then she, like, high fives herself in
That's
the mirror.
so your energy.
Yeah.
That's something you like.
You are her. Like, you.
It's weird. I am her. And I never even knew the show existed for a long time. And that's when I was most like her.
Yeah.
I had freaking bangs like her. I had glasses like her even.
It was my favorite show.
And she's so cute too,
so
so that's a plus.
Yeah. I know. I actually, that's like the one celebrity I like.
She's so cute.
She's probably also evil, but
no,
her
she's
acting
not.
at least is me.
I love her. She's so cute.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for listening.
Hope you got this far.
Yeah, hopefully you got this far, and if you did, thank you for sticking through all of our traumas and all of our things that we're going through in our lives right now, and
real raw emotions.
Yeah, I hope that something that you heard today makes you feel like you're not alone. And yeah,
guys, try it though. Like, let's do the high five thing. Like, hold your hand to your hand in the mirror.
Yeah.
Look at yourself and say, you got this, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. Like, just do it.
Here for the day.
And then comment how things have changed for you. I want to hear.
Yes, and the reason they do that, let me just explain a little background, is because there's something that's triggered in your brain when you give someone a high five. If you think about it, when you, like, high five your friend, it's like, good job, like, you're so proud of them, and, like, it's already built in your system to have that feeling when you give a high five. So giving yourself that high five in the morning, even if it feels fucking awkward and you're like, what am I doing? That instantly is already triggered as good job. Mm-hmm. You're doing, you're doing
at the gym I go to.
You have little chakras in your hands too. Like, you have little chakras all throughout your body, other than just like the main ones. Yeah. So that would like make sense, right? You're like activating that chakra in your hand.
I like that.
High-fiving yourself.
Yep, that's so true.
We can probably link Mel Robbins too, because she's the one who came up with it, the high five habit.
Yep, high five habit.
I think she has a book titled that. We need to get it.
We should do that. Do a deep dive in the book.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, well, thank you for listening, you guys.
To everybody.
Yes. Ho'oponopono.
Hopefully we're saying it right.
Yep.
Love y'all.
Love you.
Bye.